Today we're going to talk about writing an expository essay from your research. When you write an expository essay, you're going to keep the basic kernel format. You'll start with your opinion, then you'll give your reason, another reason, and restate your opinion. And remember from before that each one of those parts of the expository kernel will be their own paragraph. There's really only a couple of things that are different about writing in a research expository. For example, when you wrote your beginning expository essays, you chose your opinion, and we just call that your opinion. And then all of your reasons were supported with examples from your own life. When you write a research expository, these reasons are going to be the facts from your research. So everything that you write to support your opinion will come from your research. Another difference is that when you write a research expository, first we call your opinion the thesis. And this is not a term you have to know in 4th grade, but it is a word that you will use in 5th grade. And it really, again, just means your opinion. The difference here is when you write a research opinion or thesis to begin your paper, you don't want it to sound like it's your opinion. You want to write it in 3rd person. So you're not going to say, my opinion about sea slugs is that they're really amazing. You're just going to change that to 3rd person and say something along the lines of, sea slugs are really amazing. Let's look at some research. These are some facts that were found during research about Sam Houston. Sam Houston was the president of the Republic of Texas twice. He was the governor of both Texas and Tennessee. Houston tried to help Native Americans. Houston protected settlers during the runaway scrape and even sent a wagon back to rescue those left behind. Now, it's your job as a researcher to look at all of the facts and come up with your own opinion. After looking at all of these facts, here's one possible opinion. Helping people was important to Sam. Now, the opinion word here is important. So when I write my research kernel, I want to choose facts to put in my essay that show that it was important to him. Because even though that doesn't look like an opinion, helping people was important to Sam Houston, because of that word important, it is. So I need to find facts that back that up. So when I write my paper, I might make each of these into a paragraph and explain how those facts prove that helping people is important to Sam Houston. Let's look at another research project for an example. Killer whales hunt together. Each pod has its own unique group of calls called a dialect. As many as 4 generations of killer whales swim together in a pod. A female is the leader of the pod. There are no documented cases of killer whales eating people. Now again, as a researcher, it's my job to look at these things and form my own opinion from these facts. One possible opinion would be the family structure of the killer whale, the pod, is important to their way of life. Now when I look at my research, again, I am using the word important as my opinion word here, and I want to look and see which one of these facts would help me prove that the pod is important to the way of life. Now as I look back over at each of these, I see that I really could explain more of these in detail to show how the pod is important. I'm really honestly not really sure that this card is going to really help my case. Just because there's a female leader does not necessarily make the pod important to their way of life. So this is kind of an iffy fact that I might want to throw out. But this fact, there are no documented cases of killer whales eating people. This does not support my thesis at all. So I could just leave this fact out. Remember, as a researcher, you don't have to use all of your facts in your research paper. There's no law that states that. It actually is really helpful if you have extra information that you can look at and maybe throw out. It's much better to have too much information than it is to not have enough. But I think if this were my paper, I would probably take this out. Now, if for some reason I had to keep that, then that would mean I would need to rewrite my thesis to include all of these facts. Things to remember. Your opinion or thesis should not be written in first person. Your facts should support your opinion. Write your thesis in a way that you can use the facts you found. You don't have to use all of your facts in your paper. As always, I'm excited to see the amazing work you're going to do on your expository research papers.